All right, good morning. Welcome to the 294th District Court. I am Judge Chris Martin. I want to say thank you for making use of the entire courtroom and maintaining your social distancing. Many of you are not wearing masks. If you would like to have a mask provided to you, just let court staff know. We'll provide one. Ask you to respect your own health and that of others by wearing masks. We encourage the use of those. Please maintain your social distancing when you're in common areas such as hallways, the stairwell, restrooms. You're not going to do it for your sake. Do it for that of others. Okay. I'm going to call everyone's name in just a moment. When I call your name, if you will say present or here, raise your hand so I can acknowledge you for the docket. After that, I'll recall your case. CR 2283, Bill Adams. Mr. Adams here. Bill Hardy Adams, Jr. Taylor Grisby. Tristan Kimmerling, Tyler Riley, Tyler Cisneros Riley, Tiffany Stevenson. I should see that Miss Stevenson is in the court's waiting room. Chanel Tillman. Did I say that right? Montana Tippett. Montana Ray Tippett. Ashley Olds. Miss Olds is represented by Adrian Crane. We received a waiver of arraignment yesterday, I believe, or today. That's been approved by the court. Pretrial is set January 12th. Carl Klump. Okay, we'll see if he shows. Amy Ferguson. Francisco Zanella. You've seen him with Mr. Meehan. Thank you, Mr. Nicholas. Mustafa Abdel Dayum. Did I say that right? Close enough. James O'Brien. Jennifer Stuck or Stuick. Is that correct? Which one? Stuick? Stuke. Mary Dean. Gabriel Romero. Gabriel Romero is represented by Mr. Nolan White. Filed a waiver of arraignment. That will be approved by the court. Pretrial date. Do we know what that pretrial date is, Ms. Abraham? It's okay. If you'll just let me know so I can let the state know. Keisha Everett. Oh, 1:30. She's not good to 1:30. It's the jail. All right. Is there anyone's name that I have not called that's present in the courtroom and not on the docket? I want to recall these names. Bill Adams, Carl Klump, Amy Ferguson. Just make sure no one's slid in. Counsel, do we have anyone that is ready? Thanks, sir. We have any other counsel that's ready, or are you all asking to speak with the state? Ms. Thompson, I believe you're muted. If you'll unmute.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm unmuted now.
Okay, are you ready on Miss Mary Dean?
Your Honor, I am ready, yes.
Okay, Miss Dean, if you'll make your way to the podium, please. Miss Dean, my television's not working this morning. Can you see Miss Thompson up here at all?
Yes, sir.
All right, and Miss Thompson, can you see Miss Dean? Miss Dean, if you'll raise your hand, help Miss Thompson see. Okay. Can you see and hear each other okay?
I can see her barely, but I can hear her.
Okay, well, I assure you she is here. So, all right, Miss Thompson, yes. We are set for arraignment, I believe, today. Have you had an opportunity to review the indictment with Miss Dean?
I have not had an opportunity to review the indictment with Miss Dean. I've not been able to get in contact with her. I think the number I had for her is no longer valid. She has not contacted me, so I've got a copy of the indictment, but I've not gone over it with her.
All right, Ms. Dean, I'm going to have you step forward right between these two podiums here. Just a moment, Ms. Thompson, and I'm going to pull up the indictment. All right, Ms. Dean, can you see this document at all?
Yes, sir.
Do you need to come closer to see it?
I can see it.
You can see it?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is court, for the record, the court is having displayed digitally indictment filed in cause number CR 2288, styled County Court at Law of Van Zandt County, State of Texas versus Mary Louise Nicole Dean for a charge in the Health and Safety Code for a 1.115 subsection B charge possession of controlled substance, including group 1 less than 1 gram degree, a state jail felony. Miss Thompson, I'm going to allow you to ask Miss Dean some questions in just a moment, and then I'm going to ask if you're going to waive the full reading of the indictment. Okay, Miss Dean, if you will you raise your right hand? Ma'am, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Let me put your hand in. Go ahead, Miss Thompson.
Yes, Ms. Dean, is, having looked at the indictment, is your name spelled correctly on there?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, she understands what she's charged with. Name is spelled correctly. For purposes today here, we'll waive the reading of the indictment and enter a plea of not guilty.
Right. The court will enter Ms. Dean's plea of not guilty into the record. We'll also further advise her, Ms. Dean, that the range of punishment for a state jail felony, if convicted, is confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice State Jail Division for a period of not less than 6 months or 2 years, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand that full range of punishment as well? All right. The court has entered your plea of not guilty into the record.
Judge, if I may interrupt for a moment.
Go ahead.
Ms. Dean, when you get home today, I need you to call me with correct phone numbers and addresses.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the court's going to set this for pretrial on January 7th. Are you available on that day? Any conflicts, Ms. Thompson?
None, Your Honor.
All right, just ask that you work with the state in making sure you have access to all the electronic discovery and that you make arrangements to pick up any type of digital evidence they may have on your client, okay?
Yes, sir.
we're having Miss Dean fill out the notice of appearance. We're going to give her a copy of that, showing pretrial setting of November 7th at 9 a.m. Once she gets that, she's going to be free to go. So you're
Okay,
free.
sir.
Do you have anything this
Thank you,
afternoon?
sir.
Do you have anything this afternoon, Ms.
No,
Thompson?
no, sir, I do not.
Okay. All right. Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Miss Dean, if you'll just write your phone number, and bailiff's already ahead of the game.
Can I ask my husband to make sure that I know the right number?
Yes. If you want to, just go back there. Go back there and take that with you, and then you can fill that out and bring that back to my bailiff. Okay? Yes, Ms. Dean, we'll see you back on January 7th. Okay, make sure that you're staying in compliance with your pretrial release, okay? Have you been reporting to your pretrial release officer, checking in?
Yes.
Okay, good. Ms. Beasley?
Thank you.
Awesome, Ms. Beasley. Is Miss Tippett here? Montana Ray Tippett? Court is going to attempt to bring Miss Tiffany Stevenson into the Zoom hearing. All right, Miss Stevenson, we're going to wait till your device connects to audio. All right, Miss Stevenson, if you'll swipe up on your device, find a microphone that's got a red line to it. You'll need to press that red button. You may have to swipe left or right. I'm not sure what type of device you're on, but all right, Miss Stevenson, I have audio for you now, but I've lost your video. There you go. Can you see me?
Okay.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
All right, Miss Stevenson, thank you. I know it's a little frustrating at times, but just takes a little perseverance, that's all.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, this is cause number CR 20-311, State of Texas versus Tiffany Lee Stevenson. Miss Stevenson, you have been indicted by the grand jury with the state jail felony offense of theft of property greater than or equal to $2,500 but less than $30,000. And Miss Stevenson, is it my understanding that you will be retaining an attorney to represent you in this matter?
Yes, sir. Well, I've spoken to a couple, but it's going to be like several weeks before I'm able to retain them. So I don't know if I need to try to get a court-appointed attorney or how fast I'd have to have one retained.
If I were to reset your case until after January 1st, do you believe that would give you enough time to hire an attorney to represent you?
Yes, sir.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do for you, Ms. Stevenson. I'm going to reset your case until January 7th. That's
Okay.
the first Thursday in January.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to set you for arraignment. So this will be the only notice that I give you. Okay, you're not going to receive anything else in the mail.
Yes, sir.
We're in the courtroom right now, and so this is the notice that you're going to get. So if you fail to appear on January 7th, the court's going to issue a warrant for your arrest.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so on January 7th, come back and you're set for arraignment and have an attorney with you on that day. Notify your attorney that we're set for arraignment, and they may be able to file a waiver that will prevent you from having to make an appearance on that day and get you an additional day for a pretrial hearing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Stevenson, thank you for appearing via Zoom today. We'll see you back on January 7th at 9 a.m. with your attorney.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Beasley? All right, Ms. Beasley, I believe you're muted still.
Is that better, Judge?
That is much better. Okay. I believe your client is not here today. Montana Ray Tippett, correct?
I believe that is correct, Your Honor.
Ms. Tippett's not here still. Is that correct? We called her name at 9 a.m. No appearance, and I've called it routinely for the last maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I think once before. So she's not here today. Do you have any update on her?
No, sir. All I know is that I've sent emails and phone calls and texts and not received a response, nor has the bond company. I believe they filed an ATGOB on this case.
I believe that is correct, and I believe that is outstanding. So we'll wait and see when we see Ms. Tippett again.
Yes, sir.
All right. You don't have anyone else today, do you, Ms. Beasley?
No, sir. I believe that's all I have.
And you don't have anything this afternoon either, correct?
No, sir.
All right. Well, good to see you, and thank you for appearing today.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
See you. Tyler Riley. Is Tyler Riley? Step outside to speak with Ms. Taberham, possibly. Mr. Adams indicated that he was going to be running a few minutes late. Ms. Beasley, do you need help?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, I guess the court's going to stand in recess for a few moments to allow defense counsel to speak with the state regarding the cases. I'm going to stay here in the courtroom for just a few minutes, but we will be in recess. Mr. Gimbel, are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready on Taylor Grisby?
That's correct.
Ms. Grisby? Yes, middle one right there. All right, ma'am, the state has filed a motion to revoke your community supervision, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And we're set today for a status on that. And you have requested a court-appointed attorney. The court has reviewed that, finds you to be indigent with reimbursement. It has appointed the Honorable Brent Gimbel to represent you. Mr. Gimbel, I'm assuming you haven't had sufficient time to review her case and be prepared for any type of announcement today. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And are you proposing a reset in this matter?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Abraham said we could be back on January 7th.
All right, court will set Ms. Grisby for motion to revoke hearing on January 7th, 2021 at 9 a.m. And have you already had the notice of appearance signed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and does she have a copy of it?
She does.
And is it Grisb or Grisby?
Rib.
Grib.
Yes.
I'm probably not even gonna remember that next time. So I asked for forgiveness, and I'll apologize in the future. All right, Ms. Grib, then we're gonna see you back on January 7th of 21 at 9 a.m. The only other issue that I have for you is that my docket reflects that there's a warrant for your arrest.
Yes, sir.
So you're gonna go ahead and be taken into custody at this time.
How does that work?
How does it work that you get taken into custody?
Like, can you make it just a second? I have.
So, Your Honor, will the setting of January 7th be at 1:30 instead of 9?
Well, it depends. If Miss Grib is in custody still, then it'll be 1:30. If she's on bail, then it'll be at 9 a.m. And I believe it's a motion to revoke, or at least that's what my docket says. If it's a motion to adjudicate and she makes bail, then it'll be 9. If not, then she's in custody, then we'll bring court to her at 1:30.
Understand?
All right. Mr. Gimbel, do you have anything else?
Not until this afternoon.
Not till this afternoon. Okay. All right. And the bailiff may be able to give you more information about that warrant so you can advise your client so that she can make plans.
Will do, Judge.
All right. Court's going to bring Mr. Knoll in.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Mr. Knoll. How are you, sir?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Well, let's see if we can make it better.
Okay.
Court call CR 20-280, Mr. Abdel Dayon. You come up, sir, to the middle podium there. All right, and can you raise your hand so Mr. Knoll can see you? Mr. Knoll, can you see your client way back there in the?
Yes, I do.
All right, and can
Yeah.
you hear him okay, Mr. Abdel Dayon? All right, Mr. Knoll, I see that we're set for arraignment today on the charge of possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 1 less than 1 gram, a state jail felony. Have you had a chance to review the indictment with your client?
Judge, I have. We did that yesterday over the phone. Believe it or not, his name is spelled correctly in the indictment. He does understand the charge against him. For the purposes of arraignment, we would enter a plea of not guilty. I do have all the discovery in the case, so I believe I do. So I think just probably one pretrial setting. I assume that would be first part of the year. And I think we'll be able to dispose of the case most likely without a trial.
Okay. I've got January 7th. Do you have any conflicts on that day?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. We'll take that day.
Okay. Court will set this case for a pretrial hearing on January 7th at 9 a.m. And let's see. Sir, I'm going to do. Oh, you have them? Sorry, thanks. Which one? All right, Mr. Cox, help me out. your client's going to sign a notice of appearance, and we're going to give him a yellow copy, and then he'll be free to go. You have all of his contact information. You need anything else before
I do have, actually, he gave the court a number yesterday that was actually his brother's, but I do have a correct phone number for his phone. That's the 214 area code.
Okay, good. All right, so sir, we'll see you back on January 7th at 9 a.m. When you get that yellow copy, you're free to go. Okay, thank you.
And Judge, I will be talking with him again, obviously, before January 7th.
Okay, so Mr. Knoll says he'll be speaking with you again before your next court date. Okay, thank you. All right, you're free to go. Oh, actually, sir, let me have you stay for just a moment. Mr. Knoll had a note on my docket that he needs to sign his pretrial release papers. Probation is not here yet. Let me track that down. I'm just going to have him sign that. And so there's Mr. Waddell. We'll have him sign that, give him a copy of it, and have him call you or speak with the pretrial release officer if he has any questions, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
I think that's all I have on the docket today, this morning.
Make sure that you haven't been appointed to anyone. Are you ready? Discuss the conditions of pretrial release. You meet him up here so you'll know who he is. Yes. Sir, if you'll just come up here and have a seat, they're going to come and give you some paperwork in just a moment before you leave, okay? All right, Mr. Noy, yeah, I don't see anyone else. Do you have anyone this afternoon? Jill?
I don't believe so. I think I've got several things next week.
Yep, I do not see you on this afternoon. So, all right, good to see you, and have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.
You too, Judge. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Adams, you still working? That's fine. That's fine. All right, Ms. Tillman, if you'll make your way to the center podium. This is cause number CR 2315. We're set for arraignment today. Mr. Adams, are you ready?
I'm ready, Your Honor.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Your Honor, in both cases pending against Ms. Tillman, she and I have reviewed the indictments for each case. Her name is correctly spelled in the indictment set forth. She understands the allegation made against her in each indictment. At this time, we're going to enter a plea of not guilty to both charges and ask that the court set us over for a pretrial hearing.
Right, and Mr. Adams, have you received discovery in this case?
I have received the written documents. I'm not sure that I've received the audio video yet. And I'm assuming that there is audio video because this was a traffic stop. But I don't think I have it. But it's only been about 3 or 4 weeks.
You think January 7th would be too soon for pretrial?
Judge, yeah, probably so. I would like a little bit more time.
All right, the court will set Ms. Tillman then for pretrial on January 26th in CR 2315 and CR 2316. Ms. Tillman, I'm going to need you to report to our pretrial release officer so that you can sign your conditions of pretrial release. Since the court has appointed Mr. Adams to represent you on your indigency basis, the court's going to condition your bail, your freedom in this case. We're going to condition it on you reporting and paying supervision fees, you paying attorney fees, abstaining from alcohol, drugs, things of that nature. So all of this paperwork is going to explain that to you. So once Mr. Adams is through with you, then I need you to come see Officer Ventura here, and she'll go over that paperwork with you, have you sign and give you a copy, okay? All right, so once he's through with you, come on back and see her. Did you receive an appointment this morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tristan Kimberly. Are you ready on that one?
We're ready.
Mr. Kimberly, you'll come to the middle podium. You are Tristan Michael Kimberly, correct?
Yes, sir.
This is CR 2293. We're set for arraignment today. Mr. Kimberly has requested court-appointed counsel. The court has found him to be indigent today and has appointed the Honorable Mitch Adams to represent Mr. Kimberly. Mr. Adams, have you had an opportunity to review the indictment with your client?
No, Your Honor, we do not have a copy of that. I explained to Mr. Kimmerling that the court might be willing to provide us with a copy to look at here at his hearing. We can take a brief look at that to make sure that he's identified correctly. So.
All right, Mr. Kimberly, if you'll step forward up here to this blue square. I'm going to have Mr. Adams, if you need to come as well, I'm going to have displayed here on this screen in just a moment your indictment. Can you see that there, Mr. Kimberly? Mr. Adams as well?
Yes, sir. told me that his name is spelled correctly in the indictment. He understands the nature of the allegation made against him in the indictment. And at this time, we're going to enter a plea of not guilty and request that he proceed.
All right, court will enter Mr. Kimmerling's plea of not guilty into the record. Court will also set Mr. Kimmerling for pretrial on January 26th. To give you more time, Mr. Adams, due to your appointment today. All right, Mr. Kimmerling, you're going to sign that notice of appearance. All right, this is cause number CR 17426, State versus Jennifer. Is it Candid Stuke? And Ms. Stuke, raise your right hand. I'm going to place you under oath at this time. Ma'am, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, you may put your hand down. Ms. Stuke, are you a United States citizen?
Yes, sir.
Do you read, write, and speak English? Have you ever been diagnosed with any type of mental condition? In this case, you're represented by your attorney, Mr. Jeff Sanders. Are you pleased with his representation of you?
Yes, sir, very much.
Do you feel like you've had sufficient time to talk with him about your case, have all of your legal questions answered?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sanders, do you believe your client to be competent today?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe she is.
And you've explained to her her legal and constitutional rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Stuke, you are charged by indictment with a state jail felony offense of credit card or debit card abuse that carries a range of punishment of not less than 6 months or more than 2 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice State Jail Division, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. That's the range of punishment for a state jail felony. It appears to me that the plea agreement in this case is for you to be prosecuted under Section 1244A of the Texas Penal Code, which means that the charge would remain a state jail felony offense. However, the punishment would be punished as a misdemeanor offense, with the agreement being 103 days confinement in the county jail, with you receiving 103 days credit, a $2,000 fine, restitution to the victim in the amount of $126.29, court costs of $290, and reimbursement fees of $735 to Van Zandt County for your court-appointed attorney fees and any other fees owed to the county. Ms. Stuke, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, sir.
Yours as well, Mr. Sanders?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
And Mr. Sanders, is she making her payments for her restitution today, or court costs or fine or reimbursement fees?
Judge, we're asking if we could set a payment plan with the county to pay those things out.
A payment plan to the victim, the restitution to the victim?
Yes, I think that was just, or at least from what I understood, be able to make a payment plan, set a payment plan with the county for all of that, for all the different fees and the restitution too.
In state is Mr. Cox or Ms. Heisel? Who's doing this plea here?
Ms. Heisel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Heisel, have you spoken with the victim in this case, and is he amenable to a payment plan for restitution?
Your Honor, we have not spoken with the victim in this case. As you can see, the case is fairly old. We have not had any recent contact. Ms. Stuke was absent from our court. I'm not sure really what happened in terms of the time lapse there, but we do intend to forward on that restitution to the victim as soon as we receive it.
And Mr. Sanders, does your client understand that if she fails to pay her fines and court costs and reimbursement fees, that the court will issue a warrant for her arrest?
Yes, Your Honor. We've talked about how she could be held in contempt for not paying in accordance with the payment plan.
She also understands that she could at no time ever have the restitution waived or sit out the restitution, that's owed to an individual, not to the government.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Stuke, to the charge of credit card or debit card abuse, how do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And Ms. Stuke, are you pleading guilty to that charge because you are guilty of that charge and for no other reason?
Other reason.
And Ms. Stuke, has anyone threatened you, forced you, or pressured you to plead guilty to this charge?
No, sir.
All right, court will accept the defendant's plea of guilt. Mr. Sanders, any objection to States 1?
No objection.
States 1, the stipulation of evidence is admitted, and the court will take judicial notice of the defendant's judicial confession. Is there anything further from the state, Ms. Heisel?
No, Your Honor, we dressed and closed.
Anything else from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Duke, based on the evidence before the court will find that there is sufficient evidence to convict you of this offense. The court will follow the plea agreement and recommendation of the state. Court hereby convicts you under section 1244A of the state jail felony offense of credit card or debit card abuse, assesses your punishment in accordance with the plea agreement at 103 days confinement in the Van Zandt County Jail. Court awards you credit for 103 days time spent towards your incarceration. Court assesses restitution in the amount of $126.29. Orders you to pay a fine of $2,000, court costs $290, and reimbursement fees of $735. Ms. Duke, are you going to be able to make any payments today towards any of these costs?
I do believe that I've paid $429. That's what my paper says. Whenever I was on PR bond, so they said they were going to apply that to the account today to that debt. But as far as that's all I'll be able to have today.
Okay, so you do have some credit with your pretrial release?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Okay, good. All right, so I would just order you after you're fingerprinted and you receive a copy of your judgment and those things, report to the end of the hall and speak with Ms. Bonnie LaPrade. She's a court compliance officer. She can set you up on a payment plan. And so long as you're making a good faith effort to satisfy this, then the county will work with you. The moment that you do not, or you quit making payments, or you quit contacting the court compliance officer and not putting forth effort, the court's going to issue a warrant for your arrest.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Duke. The court's going to sign the judgment and will order you into the custody of the Van Zandt County Sheriff so we can carry out the terms and conditions of this sentence. Court this day is also signing the motion to dismiss of the unadjudicated offense in CR 17425. She's going into custody. No, she has credit for her 103 days, so she'll just be fingerprinted. So this negates sure. Let's see. 426. Yes, yeah, I show those to be bond forfeitures. So they're not new indictments. And Ms. Heisel, the court has bond forfeiture warrants showing on each one of these cases. Rather than effecting those today, the court would release her unless you tell me that she's been indicted for bail jumping or failure to appear.
No, Your Honor, this will resolve all of her cases.
Okay. Thank you. So, Ms. Stu, while you're doing that, there are warrants active for you missing court on these cases before, right? So the fact that you're here today and you've resolved your cases, that will resolve the warrants. However, it's going to take some time for the process to go through. There's paperwork that leaves this court, goes to the clerk, goes to the sheriff to take them out of the system. So that means be very careful. If you get pulled over, they may take you into custody. I would have the paperwork with you and ask the officer to check with the warrants division. However, they may not do that. They're not required to do that. Okay, so these warrants will be active for a little bit, and we'll try to have those withdrawn. Okay.
And to just let the court know, she was arrested on these in Gray County, but then Van Zandt County didn't come and pick her up, and so they released her. But then she understood that would mean that the warrant would still be active.
Okay, so there was an arrest effected on that.
Yes.
All right, are you ready on Mr. O'Brien?
Yes, we are.
Mr. O'Brien, if you'll make your way to the center podium, please. CR 2301, State versus James Bryan O'Brien, set for arraignment today. Have you had an opportunity to review the indictment with your client, Mr. Sanders?
Yes, Your Honor, we have. We've reviewed a copy of the indictment. His name is spelled correctly in the indictment. And we would waive the formalities of arraignment, waive the reading of the indictment, and he would enter a plea of not guilty at this time.
Court will enter a plea of not guilty for Mr. O'Brien. Court sets this matter for pretrial. Are you available on January 7th, Mr. Sanders?
Yes, Your Honor, that should be fine.
Set for pretrial on that day. I'll need Mr. O'Brien to sign his conditions of pretrial release. Mr. O'Brien, since you have received a court-appointed attorney and Mr. Sanders, the court has conditions of your pretrial release, meaning that the bond bail that you have posted in this case is going to be conditioned on several things. One, that you report to a pretrial release officer, that you pay for your supervision, that you undergo drug testing, that you abstain from use of alcohol, marijuana, harmful substances, you don't commit any more offenses while you're on bail. If you violate any of those, the court could have a hearing and revoke your bail, find it insufficient. Okay, so there's going to be some paperwork today that you're going to complete with the pretrial release officers. You'll get a copy of that. If you have any questions, Mr. Sanders can help you address those. Okay.
And Judge, I did have one question. He has a pending misdemeanor in county court law. I wasn't sure if county court law was okay with it, if we could have it transferred to your court to have it all set at the same time as the felony case.
Yes, Judge Winters typically grants those motions to consolidate or motions to transfer, okay. and I do as well. So okay. Whether you want it to be here or there, then we work harmoniously in that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll file something with the court down there, and then hopefully we get all set for the.
Yeah, and he'll sign off on that. If you'll e-file that, he'll sign that usually, and then it gets sent up to me. And then once I sign it, then the clerks can do their transfer.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
What is that? Just so do you know that cause number so that I may.
No, actually, I don't think I do. No, I don't have it.
All right. So once Mr. O'Brien gets his yellow copy, I'm going to have him report over to Mr. Waddell. Once you get that paperwork, you'll be free to go. Mr. Manning, are you ready with Mr. Zanella? Mr. Zanella here?
He was, Judge.
Is he now?
He's not now. He was here along with one of his witnesses. Was interviewed by Mr. Crawford from the DA's office, and I mistakenly let him go after they signed a reset. I thought he was just, since he was on the jury selection docket, I didn't know if there was an announcement needed to be made.
What was our status for today?
He had missed the jury selection docket because he was in the hospital.
That's right.
Bit by a spider. He was in the hospital for 4 weeks. And so we were just trying to get him back in here and get him signed up.
Okay. So he's already, has he signed the new notice of appearance?
Yes, Judge. And he's going to be appearing on January 11th for jury selection.
All right.
I've also updated his contact information with the pretrial release officer.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. And Mr. Schmidt was here earlier, made an announcement on Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
I have you as attorney of record on that.
Judge, he had her come in and he was retained on that case. And so I believe he filed a motion to sub on the release.
So it should be him.
Yes. And there was no fees that I had in that case system.
Okay. That's all you have, is that correct?
I believe so, Judge. No excuse.
Yes, sir. Good seeing you. Okay. All right, and just for the record, Ms. Tabraham indicated to me that Bill Hardy Adams Jr.'s bail bondsman contacted him. He indicated that he believed that his court date was January 3rd. So he's been instructed to make an appearance in this court no later than 1:30 today in this court. So if he does not, then the court's going to have his name called here in just a moment. If he doesn't appear, then the court will do a judgment nisi and alias capias. However, if he does appear, then the court will conduct the interview regarding whether or not he's going to retain counsel. Sergeant Carter, would you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
I've got a few names I need called. And they are circled with nisi. There's only 5. So they got the circle on them.
Yes,
Just call those names.
I'll do it.
Thanks, sir.
They're easy, right?
Easy enough.
Tyler Cisneros Riley, Montana Ray Tippett, Carl Jean Klump, Amy Elizabeth Ferguson. There's no response.
Thank you, sir. All right, the court is going to take a judgment nisi and alias capias under advisement for all of the names called who did not appear. The court called each name at 9 a.m. There was no one present, and they failed to appear at this time. The court will extend them some grace, and if they appear by 1:30, then the court will conduct a hearing. If not, the court will issue a judgment nisi and alias capias. The names were called loudly and distinctly 3 times in the courthouse with no response. All right, Mr. Cox and Ms. Heisel, then I guess we'll see 1:30. Sure. And if any of these people show up, then I may just call you and zoom you in or something. The ones that didn't appear, I believe, are all set for arraignment. 2 of them do not have attorneys. One is wanted already. And the other 2 have attorneys, so we may coordinate them at 1:30 if they show up with counsel. Thank you, thank you.
See you at 1:30. Thanks, Judge.
Eyes will watch TV between now and then.
I'm sorry, Judge.
I said no watching TV between now and then.
Yes, Your Honor.